Ladies and gents, welcome on in to another live stream. How we doing? What's going on? We are live here again. Because Bitcoin is slipping below $92,000. So just gonna wait to make sure that we're good. Welcome on into the stream, those of you that are just tuning in here. As you are coming in, do me a favor and smash up those likes. Shout out to 𝐿𝐿𝐴 in the live chat. He comes in right in a comment saying, I can't wait to hear the cope today, saying that this is bullish. Oh, bless him, 𝐿𝐿𝐴. That is brilliant. That is brilliant. Welcome on into the stream, ladies and gents. How we all doing? Smash up those likes as you are coming in here. You already know the deal. Let's get these likes up to 50. We're already at 14. Thank you very much for smashing them up. Shout out to OKO Crypto from LA. What's going on, LA? 𝗕𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗡𝗦 from DC. Midwest Picker says, time to panic sell, I guess. Yeah, definitely. Definitely time to panic sell. Right at the Fibonacci retracement. I mean, that's what the market's looking for. The market is looking for capitulation right now. So if we can give it to the market, that might actually mark the bottom. So we'll definitely be looking at that. Well, what's going on, guys? Welcome into the live stream. Shout out to Good Average Golfer from Texas. What's going on? Bill Brower, Rich Taboo. What's going on, Rich? From Benidorm. How you doing, mate? Welcome everyone into the live stream. Bitcoin sitting at 91,800, and this now puts it effectively right at the bottom of my favorite support zone on this chart. So yeah, that's where we are. I'm not gonna go into the analysis yet. I want to let a couple more people kind of trickle in, but I'm just kind of telling you what we're dealing with right now. We do still have a couple more support levels. I've got 85 and 75 drawn out, and it looks like 85 is quite likely at this stage, and I'm okay with 85. I'm not going to be upset if we drop down to 85, and we've been looking at 85 for quite some time. But what's up, Edward from the Netherlands? Randy says, oh shit, I thought we were already getting capitulation. I mean, you could say that these are capitulation. The thing is, we haven't really seen real capitulation because dominance hasn't gone up. But it doesn't look like dominance is going to be able to go up. It looks like dominance is already kind of sliding down here. So, I don't know. We might not need to get capitulation. I mean, we don't have to. We don't have to do anything. So, but John also says, I feel like the drop isn't sharp enough yet. Ethereum is under 3K. That just happened. Ethereum is just sliding beneath 3K right now as well. So what we're going to go ahead and do is put that degen cam on the right-hand side of the screen. But ladies and gents, thank you all for tuning in with me here today on another live stream on this Monday evening. Welcome on in to the live stream. And as you are coming in, do me a favor and smash up those likes. Let's get those likes above 50. Help push this stream out, get it started a little bit faster for us here. Shout out to 𝗲𝗟𝗡𝗦𝗡 from San Francisco. Louise says, flush and fast rebound. I can see that. Sugar Violence says, hey from Scotland. What's going on, Scotland? How you doing? What's up, James? The underworld demands more blood. Jay says, we're dumping hard. Yes, sir, we are. We definitely are. Daveen's happy for the degen cam. I know you love the degen cam, Daveen. Shout out to Daveen in the live chat. What's up, guys? Welcome into the stream. Let's get 15 more likes here on this stream. We're closing in. Midwest says the Super Trooper scene where the guy goes, I've already pulled over and I can't pull over any further. Midwest is saying we can't capitulate any further, and that's the crazy thing, is we absolutely can as well. Isn't that what's just so crazy though, is that no matter how bad it gets, it will always have the possibility of getting worse, and that applies to the upside as well. That also works when the market is moving up. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But greetings from SLO. Where is SLO? Is that Slovenia or is that somewhere else? But what's up, Juan? BroFi chilling, just waiting for some clarity on the market. Shout out to Juan in BroFi. We've been killing it inside of BroFi. It's been really, really cool. Great discussions here. More gains from members as well, which is always very, very fun to see. So welcome in, everyone. We're 7 likes away from 50. Thank you all very much for smashing those up. Let's get started with some of the analysis here. And so here's Bitcoin on the minute time frame. We're actively setting a new low right now as we speak. And I gotta say, I mean, you know, I looked at the charts today and I was like, fuck's sakes. Like, this is... you know, like, today I got on and I was like, fuck sakes. Like, this is not ideal. You know, the fact that we're not seeing... It's not terrible on the S&P 500 here. You know, it looks like it might want to roll over and drop down a little bit more, and if it drops further, honestly, it could drop quite hard. It doesn't have to. The pullbacks have been very shallow throughout this year. You know, these pullbacks they've been so shallow. You talk about 2-3%, you know, and from the all-time high, the S&P is now down by about 3%. So, you know, we haven't done anything crazy yet either for the S&P 500. But if the S&P is looking to drop lower, I mean, this is already putting Bitcoin down toward, you know, the 80s as we speak right now. So we're kind of already in a little bit of trouble. And it really depends on how low this thing wants to go. You know, I mean, earlier today when the S&P kind of opened, you know, it wasn't looking too bad. You know, it wasn't looking too bad. We've got Monday right here. We actually kind of traded up a little bit from where we opened, but it is now just resulting in a little bit of a dump. We've got Greg saying that this is Black Monday. Free Fighter is saying, I want to know what's happening. If you want to know what's happening, look at the chart in euro. Which chart in euro? Can you clarify? Do you mean BTC euro or euro USD? Let me know what you mean by that. But here's Bitcoin just continuing to set new lows here, $91,600. Yeah, Free Fighter, just tell me a little bit more specifically what you want me to look at. I'd love to look at it, but I don't really know what you mean yet. But yeah, Bitcoin's sitting at 91,500, and if we take a look at Bitcoin's support level that I had drawn out, wow, yeah, well, we are collapsing below it right now, so that's kind of already done and dealt with. And it's an empty vacuum here. I mean, this is where the dump should accelerate. We don't have to. I mean, this is still, like, you know, wick territory, man. Like, you know, anything down to, like, 90K, 89.5, something like that. You know, you can still recover that and trend higher. So, you know, it's not necessarily the end of the world, but, you know, if we stay below this line or if we get a daily close or whatever, then, yeah, we're probably kind of coming back down to about 85. Med says that this is the end. Greg says that it's Black Monday, of course. So, you know, one of the things that I think is really quite interesting. Oh, gold is dumping as well, huh? Let's take a look at gold. Oh, yes, gold is moving down. And look at that. It's finding support right where I had outlined in this kind of general range here. That's fantastic. So, you know, this level that was previously serving as resistance for gold is now serving as a little bit of support. This is going to be a really interesting place to see if gold manages to bounce, because if it doesn't, then it's like I said, I think it's dropping down to about 3,500. So a little bit going on there. Clone, I don't know, is saying see you next year. Med is saying we're going to 60K. We got the CME gap, apparently. That's what Midwest is saying. Let's take a look at that CME gap then. You know I don't like looking at CME gaps, but I'll look at the CME gap for you guys. Where is the CME gap? Is that it? Is that the gap? Is that the gap that everyone's talking about? Well, it certainly looks like we have closed that gap. Let's see. Oh, yes, we have. We have closed that gap. So who knows, man? Maybe that's enough. I mean, you know me. I don't like CME gaps. I don't think that's important. But Bill Brower is asking for the USDT dominance chart. Nice big spike up here. Oh, it's at resistance. It could be ready to... It's looking for a breakout here. It's looking for a breakout. Well, so I gotta see how much of Bitcoin's dominance is just kind of flowing into USDT. Now, obviously not a lot, because there are still some altcoins that are doing pretty well. First of all, some of the big ones like Ethereum are holding on pretty well, so that's a good sign. But second, some of the other ones are actually doing quite well. Phil is one of those that has been doing very well recently. And, you know, some of these coins have just kind of shaken off everything, right? Like Zcash is still just on a mad one. Let's see where Zcash is at, sitting at 630 right now. So it has seen a little bit of a pullback here. Honestly, this could be really interesting for a potential trade. Let's see if I can spot anything here live on stream with you guys. Well, that's a 382 retracement, so I definitely like that. And the 618 looks mid. So I'm not really going to focus on that too much. Let's just go all the way to kind of where things look like they started, or where, I mean, they started a lot earlier than that, but there's some decent like pullback chances here on this chart, though. I don't think people holding Zcash are really receptive to this right now, but that 618 looks promising, and that 382 still looks pretty clean as well. So I'm going to go ahead and make these my lines on the chart that I want to look at, because I really like these kind of pullback territories. I mean, you know, you're talking about an asset that's essentially ran from, you know, like summer of this year, from its low over here at the end of summer-ish. It's gone up by about 2,000%. So, you know, that's quite an incredible move. Obviously, a lot of the late money would have started entering, you know, around here. So I think it totally makes sense that if things really do start getting bad, this becomes a really interesting level. I'm going to go ahead and put an alert down here, because I wanna know if Zcash starts falling down to some of these price levels here. But yeah, that looks pretty interesting to me. And Bitcoin is pulling off a very, very small recovery here. So we'll talk about Bitcoin here again in just a second. Welcome into the live stream, everyone. Thank you all very much for tuning in with us here on this Monday. Definitely make sure to smash up those likes that you are coming in. Just Q says, can you cover the QE announcements and how the Fed will not pump any new liquidity into the markets? Also, 300 billion being removed from current liquidity to cover debts. We need some pep talk here. Is the bottom in sight? Okay, so let me start with the technical question. And to be honest, what I'd actually like to do is just kind of see what you know, the bigger kind of like what the Bloombergs of the world are saying. I saw this really interesting article here. I don't really have the direct answers to your questions, bro. You know, like it's not really something I'm looking at too much. And I don't like this like culture of speculating on what the Fed is going to do, because I think people are complicating it a little bit too much. You know, there is a lot of like analysis and then meta-analysis of that analysis of what the Fed is going to do in December, for example. And I don't, you know, like to me, I think they're just going to cut the rates, and you know, like I think we're kind of, I just don't think it's that crazy, you know. Like, by the way, I don't listen to Michael Saylor ever. Yeah, like I just never really care about Michael Saylor, but a couple of the people inside of BroFi were talking about Michael Saylor today. So I was like, okay, I'll look at Michael Saylor. And dude's talking sense. Like, it feels like when I listen to Michael Saylor, it feels like I'm listening to myself, but even more calm somehow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very calm with these markets, regardless of what's happening. If we're exploding, if we're crashing, you'll never really see me getting worried, ever. I mean, you know, those of you that have been watching since, I've been making YouTube videos on this since 2018. The last time I panicked in this market, I didn't even panic on the COVID crash when Bitcoin fell to 3,800. Bitcoin went from 10K to 3.8 inside of like 3 months. I didn't even panic there. I don't panic. It just doesn't happen. But I'm listening to Michael Saylor, and Michael Saylor is like an even more like emotionally controlled version of what I'm saying. And I'm like, all right, All right, I get it. And basically what he's saying is like, everyone's like, oh, but the economy is crashing and everyone's like, like getting fucked and, the Fed and Trump and then, whatever. And Saylor's just like, you know what, man, like, I don't think things are that bad. He's like, I think it's a bit of a, ugly spot for America and its history, but, I don't think it's like the end of the world. And, I think everything's going to be fine, and like, damn fucking right, dude. Like, that's kind of, like, I mean, it's not that everything's gonna be fine. There's gonna be a lot of like isolated issues for a lot of people, but on the whole, just like with every transition that happens through history, this one's the AI transition. Things end up, things keep moving. Some people are gonna get absolutely steamrolled. Some people are gonna get very rich. Some people are gonna be largely unaffected. I don't know. That's probably not happening. No one's gonna be largely unaffected, but there's going to be some, variety there, but the bottom line is things will keep moving. And I really rate his perspective there. I really think it's pretty valid. So I thought that was reasonable. And then as far as pep talk, bro, I'm not really here to offer pep talk. Like I'm not really in the business of saying, if you guys are worried about your crypto investments, you come to this channel, I'm going to make you feel okay about it. I think that's your job, like that's going to be your job to kind of make yourself feel comfortable or uncomfortable in your positions because, if you're kind of trying to rely on somebody else to do that, it's just not going to do it. Like I've been doing this for over 8 years, this isn't going to, it's not going to work that way. You're going to have to become independent in that sense. But, for me personally, I mean, I'm not, my stance has been quite bullish for a long, like we were talking about this inside of BroFi today, actually. And basically what we were saying is, like someone pointed out, like Sammy isn't really bearish, right? Like I don't really like entertain the bearish arguments right now. And I was pointing out, earlier this year, I had people in my comments saying that I'm always bullish. But they were saying it to like make a joke out of me, like as if I'm like a bad analyst. And I made the point to these guys. I was like, Bitcoin literally went from $15,000 to $125,000. And you're fucking damn right that I was bullish the entire time because it was the right thing to do and I made a shitload of money as a result. Okay? So, where everybody else was losing money throughout this bull market, I'm up. And I'm up well, like I think I did, I think I could have done a lot better, obviously. Everybody thinks that. But I'm happy with what I did, and I was able to do that because I was on the right side of this market for the entire fucking market cycle, right? That's literally what happened. If you've been watching this channel since the low at 15K, I've only been bullish. I've only been bullish back here. I was bullish on this drop. In fact, I went long on this drop. I literally opened a position on this drop, and that position is still open, by the way. So I'm still long from 21K up until right now, up until up here. And so I literally put my money where my mouth is in every way possible in this sense. And of course, it worked. I made money. So actually, yeah, I am bullish, and I've been bullish the entire time, and it's worked. The problem is, there's this big question of like, well, is this time different? Are we in a different situation now? A different market dynamic? A different paradigm? And, if that's the kind of thing that you're worried about, then all I say is, let's revisit this range. Because Bitcoin here has broken market structure in a very ugly way. I mean, market structure bottom right here was about 107, right? Bitcoin has now dropped by 14% below that level, 15% below that level. Bitcoin had the same kind of structure here, and it got some ugly deviations. This was a 5% deviation. This was a 10% deviation. This was a 19% deviation. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but this only happened in August of last year. That's like 15 months ago or something. Like, it's not that long ago. So, Bitcoin did this, and it broke market structure, and all it did was it backtested this previous resistance level. So, it really didn't do anything that crazy. And guess what we're doing now, guys? We're falling down to a previous support level and finding support, although not very well. So perhaps we're down to the next level where we were finding resistance. We might find support here, or down to the next level. But the bottom line is Bitcoin is pulled back by, at this point, 27%. This puts it still in moderate correction territory. This is a moderate size pullback for Bitcoin. This is moderate. I'm being clear. Moderate. This is not a big drop. All right, altcoins have had a big drop. Sure, a lot of shitcoins have done pretty terribly, but shitcoins always do terribly. That's not new, and that's certainly not something that I'm going to pretend is new on this channel. Shitcoins get hit pretty bad when markets drop. That's not new. But what we have with Bitcoin is a 27% drop from the all-time high, falling down into some really good support levels. So, to me, again, it's that disconnect between where sentiment is. And I was saying this. I was you know, and I'm not going to divulge too much because we've been having a lot of high-level discussions about crypto inside of BroFi. You guys that are not already inside, what you're missing out on here is direct access to me and members of my team where we're discussing the markets here in real time, right there with you, sharing charts. And we were going back and forth about a lot of very, very important topics over these last few days here. And it's been pretty cool. We've seen some really cool profits from members as well inside of this group. If you want to get yourself inside, now's your chance. And it's $100 to join. That's it. Just $100 to join while we're in early access here. Prices are going up soon because we've rolled out a lot of content into the BroFi certified course. It is incredible. It is so good. It absolutely shits on anything I've done in the past, actually. It's that good. And what I did in the past, if you guys ever bought the course previously from like 2021 back then, you'll know that was a really, really good course. This one is this one's a different level. So definitely get yourself inside if you are interested here. Really, really cool stuff. I'd love to see you on the other side. Bill is asking, Sammy, why is every YouTuber and their mother telling us that after 2 weekly closes below the 50-week moving average that we're going down into the crypto abyss? Well, they're probably saying that because that's a super reasonable, realistic way to do analysis. You're basically saying that you're losing market structure with an important moving average, and then you're getting a close beneath it, but that close could be a deviation, so a second close cements it. And I think that's totally reasonable. I think that's like a really, really sober perspective to have on this market here. It's just that I don't really like the tool itself, the 50-week moving average. I don't think is super reliable because Bitcoin has been very stable, and moving averages are not useful when markets are stable. Moving averages are useful when markets are trending, and this market hasn't been trending for a year since Trump got elected. Or, I mean, it has been trending, but not in any real way. By the way, Bitcoin is taking a steep dip down here by a couple $100 here. So let's see if this does intensify, because Bitcoin is pretty much out of support as it stands right now. Now, we're kind of just getting into the zone of like painting a deviation. That's kind of Bitcoin's best case scenario, is that it has a quick recovery up and then we're kind of good again. But it is losing the support level right now. So, you know, if we're not able to produce a bounce pretty soon, and pretty soon meaning in like the next minutes or hours, then it's not over. You know, we certainly could still produce a bounce after that, but the chances go down a lot. And it's probably going to mean that we're going to have to revisit those mid-80s as well. But again, I got to say, just incredible performance with Bitcoin's dominance despite all of this, because how is Bitcoin's dominance not going up right now? I mean, if we understand how Bitcoin dominance works, then what it means is that if people are feeling very fearful of the market, then they're going to be selling their altcoins and going into Bitcoin, right? And so you would see Bitcoin dominance increase. That's what happens every time something scary happens. Remember 1010? Remember this pump over here? And it hasn't, you know, it hasn't resulted. Look at this dump, guys. It's still going. $91,200. We're in the 100s now. Look at that. Look at that. We're on the minute time frame here. Ladies and gents, absolutely incredible price action live here on stream. If you are enjoying the stream so far, if you're finding it useful, entertaining, maybe it just calms you down a little bit, definitely smash up those likes. We're closing in on 100 here, getting very, very close. So definitely do smash up those likes if you are enjoying the stream here. Really do appreciate it. Free Fighter says no more bull or bear, it's just crypto up and down, depends on the working. I have no idea what you're saying, Free Fighter. Honestly, your comments don't make sense. Edward says if we're going to the next level, it's no support and it's a big drop, we're at the end of the cycle. Okay. Is this the second correction in banana zone? What's banana zone? James says love being here for history. And it's always like this, right? Like, I mean, this always happens during Bitcoin bull markets in my experience. It's never not happened. So I think we're kind of getting our turn here as well. I want to show you this, by the way. I don't think many people have kind of lived through other bull markets, and that's why we're seeing the kind of takes that we're seeing here. But, if we just go back to the last bull market that Bitcoin had, this was a pretty crazy correction, right? I mean, Bitcoin set an all-time high, broke market structure, and dipped down by 55%. Fucking hell. I mean, it lost like more than half of its, value. And then it still rallied to new all-time highs. Now, granted, these new all-time highs were not substantial at all. These were not useful all-time highs for Bitcoin. There is a bounce initiating here. This is a pretty quick bounce so far. So let's see if this does anything interesting. Because if we can start sweeping some of these, levels up here, we might be able to recover back above 92. And then this could turn into something pretty interesting. But let's not hold our breath. It is looking really good so far, but let's not hold our breath. This is a very, very bearish chart. But yes, we are seeing some people saying that the CME gap from April has closed. So that could be enough for Bitcoin. I don't know. Like I said, like I always say, I don't like the CME gap theory. I don't like the 4-year cycle theory, stuff like that. I've never believed in any of them. But, I understand why other people like them. But anyway, I'm pointing out that, like, mid bull market, you get this massive correction and Bitcoin still sets new all-time highs. So, that was in the last cycle before the one that we're in right now. Let's go a cycle back. Let's go to when Bitcoin set this low at 3,000, this was all part of the same market cycle. This whole move here, this was part of the same market cycle. The catch is that we had a black swan event happening in between, and this black swan event really started to take grip of the market around February of 2020, and it really peaked toward late March of 2020. So you guys might remember that there was a pandemic going on at that time. And that resulted in markets crashing quite hard. So there was a black swan kind of in between this bull cycle. And so, actually inside of one bull market, we actually got 2 major corrections on the way to setting our real all-time high. So, that's something. 2017, we didn't actually have anything particularly crazy. However, the cycle before that, this one here, we did have a pretty substantial, I mean, this is like all one bull cycle as far as I'm concerned. We did have pretty steep corrections here, but now we're going back like more than 10 years. So the point is, Bitcoin has repeatedly produced really, really big corrections, and this is not one of them, because Bitcoin is only down by 27%. And just recently, inside of this very same market cycle, only going back to the beginning of this year, Bitcoin did pull off a 32% correction. So we're down by 27%. 32% puts us down here at $85,000. We also produced another 32% correction over here. So it's the same thing I'm getting on stream and saying every single day. And those of you that are subscribed are going to know about this. Shout out to those of you that are, because you're getting this content while it's hot, while it's live. That is very, very important here. But what you guys are going to get is that we've seen drops that are bigger than this multiple times throughout this market cycle. And it's entirely possible that we're going to produce something like that again now. We can do something stronger, we could do something weaker, but it is possible we'll do it again. And so 27% being moderate pullback territory still isn't as bad as it can get. I'd say moderate pullback territory stretches all the way up to about 32%, 35%. Anything more than 32%, 35%, now you're in a heavy pullback. You're in a deep pullback. But Bitcoin is known to produce deep pullbacks. Bitcoin is known to produce pullbacks that go beyond 50% and still keep the bull market intact, like the 2 examples that I gave you in the previous bull market. The one example when Bitcoin went from 10K down to 3.8, that was a 62% drop if my math is correct. And the pullback when Bitcoin went from 64K down to 29, that was a 55K pullback. 55% pullback. So Bitcoin's done this before. Bitcoin will do it again. Bitcoin might be doing it again right now. This could be the end of the bear market. This could be the end of the bull market. And actually, all of you guys are right. For the first time in history, retail called the fucking top correctly. And we're trending down to 0. And in that case, you guys are already confident in your take, so you don't need to worry about what Sammy has to say. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you guys what my takes are here. Obviously, I'm not your financial advisor. I never will be. I don't want to be. You do your own research, and certainly don't be an idiot. You're responsible for your own decisions. You all already know that. We're all adults here. But $91,300 for Bitcoin right now is where we are sitting at, and still just kind of hanging out in this Fibonacci golden pocket. Jay says, technically, we've been in a bear market for a year. We wiped all our gains this year. And I would say that technically we haven't been in a bear market. We certainly haven't been in a bear market technically. But in terms of how it feels and the lived experience for most traders, 100%, it has certainly felt like a bear market. And that's another reason that I feel so confident about what I'm saying right now. You're talking about a year-long, essentially, bull market that felt bearish for basically every participant. That is a recipe for markets to start pulling some sort of a recovery, especially if they're first leading into a sell-off. If that sell-off can wash a lot of people out and the prevailing market dynamics are still strong, which I believe they are, you might not. And if you disagree, then this is the end of the bull market for you. But I believe those prevailing market dynamics are still very, very strong. The fundamentals, I think they're still fantastic. They've always been fantastic, and they've only gotten better. This is something that I've said, a couple times throughout this market cycle. It's not new. And that's because, well, the same facts still hold completely true. So I think this is really, really relevant and important stuff. How are we feeling in the live chat, guys? Let me know in one word. Are we feeling bullish or bearish? I want to get a kind of gauge for this. And if you are just tuning in, definitely make sure to smash up those likes. We're sitting at 105. Let's see if we can hit 150. That would be amazing. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to get my updates on the exact positions I'm taking, the way things are developing for me in the market, you are getting those weekly lives inside of BroFi. I'm giving you intimate chart breakdowns here, my own future trade setup discussions, in-depth Q&A sessions with members. We've been having amazing streams. Our next weekly show is in 4 days, 3-4 days, which is really, really exciting. So I'd love to see you guys there. It's been very, very cool. Definitely do get yourself inside now if you've been looking for a kind of force multiplier on your output in this game. That's what BroFi definitely could be. You are going to require a little bit of luck, but our approach here is deconstructing how you view the market and then reconstructing it in a very, very healthy, consistent, sustainable way. We're going to be weathering the storms together directly alongside me and a team of proven traders, my own insiders that I trade with. And then, hopefully, with a little bit of luck, you might start to see some results fast. So really, really cool stuff and well worth coming in. We've already released the 5 key pillars, which are kind of all you need, to be honest. You can join BroFi, learn these 5 pillars and leave, and you'll probably be fine for the rest of your life. They are incredible, and they will take you very, very far, and that's already released in there as well. So well worth checking out with that link at the top of the description while we're at these prices here. Let's see what we got here. So Arno says he's feeling pissed off. Well, we have a last leg to get out of this market. Let's get onto that in a little bit here. Josh Mahoney says, I'm still bullish. Let's go buy him more. Edward says, I'm very bearish and a problem with standing the heat in my kitchen. Okay. Anthony says, flash crash to 38,000 and then hedge funds will buy everything and then back to 80K. Okay, there you go. Anthony's got it all figured out. Jimmy says, I'm not selling, so I'm not yelling. James says, I feel bearish and bummed. Same emotions at every bottom I've felt in the last 8 to 9 years being in crypto. Well, there you go, dude. You already know. It feels similar to many bottoms. It does. It feels similar to many bottoms for me as well. It always feels pretty bad. It always feels like maximum shit. And it feels like that maximum shit gets worse and worse. But, these are pretty constant dynamics that I've experienced in the market as well. Hajim says, why is the chat so bearish? I thought 4 flies were the last real ones left. Well, look, so first of all, how many people are watching that are like, diehard viewers that tune into, every stream, and how many are people that are kind of, only just tuning in? And even of those, it doesn't really matter. You're going to get a lot of variance, right? Like even inside of BroFi, we have some, like disagreeing as well. We have some, back and forth discussions as well, where we have opposing takes on the market. And so you're going to get this all the time, and that's, part of a healthy, functional market, but the bottom line is that as a trader, as an investor, when emotions start getting polarized, which they certainly are right now, and, they might only be getting worse. Let's see what the fear and greed index is saying here. I mean, I don't know how we pulled in a reading of 14 because the market was pretty shit yesterday, but this is going to update in the next 4 hours here, and we're probably going to see a pretty nice drop, hopefully below 10. And so this is my point, is with sentiment reaching, such an incredible level right now, we are probably looking at some sort of major pivot coming in relatively soon. Now, whether that pivot, leads to a lower high, and so, we only let's say we bounce up hard, but we only bounce into resistance and then get a steep rejection, well, then that's, everything the bears want to see. But, if this doesn't turn out to be a lower high, we actually get above, backtest it, find support, then, this was a major liquidity grab, and you got played again. You know what I mean? And you got played again the same way you got played down here. You got played again the same way you got played down here. You got played again the same way you got played down here, and of course down here. All of these moves have been the same. All of these moves structurally look similar. Bitcoin just looks like it's doing one of those moves again right now. In fact, if I put this on the BLX chart, I'd just bring up a quick little visualization exercise for you guys here. One of the things that I think is very, very possible for the market to pull off at a stage like this is a chart pattern that might look something a little bit like, even something a little bit like this, I think would be, totally reasonable, right? I mean, and just as an example, right? It totally doesn't have to happen this way, but, just to kind of help us visualize, what could end up happening. This looks pretty realistic to me at this stage, right? Something a little bit like this where, the market's already down here, and the market's already dropped quite a bit lower than this. It's we're looking at something a little bit more like this now, but maybe even lower, maybe down toward the 80k range. But the point is, it kind of leads into a bit of a rounded bottom, and then that leads into a pump, and then we're kind of done with messing around. That's how all of these situations have went in the past for Bitcoin throughout this market cycle. And again, if something was different right now, I'd be saying that something's different, but I don't see anything different right now. The best that I can see right now is that Bitcoin's been doing terribly against the stock market, and the stock market is doing terribly as well. I can't say terribly, but the stock market is definitely looking like it wants to dip lower. And so that's really, really bad. There's a couple other bad things going for Bitcoin. They always escape my memory because I don't really think that they're particularly valid, but they are still there for sure. So, it's not totally black and white. There's good arguments on both sides, as always. There always are good arguments on both sides here. But again, I just feel like the bears have a very weak leg to stand on. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, asked me just yesterday, he was like, you don't really pay attention to the bearish ideas in this market very much. He said that you're not really focused on them too much. You don't really talk about them too much. And let me read what I replied to him with, because this was a really, really interesting and important note that he highlighted, and I wanted to bring this up here. So here's what I said. So he said, do you think it's important? Don't you think it's important to make counter cases for your stance? And this is my response. I'm reading it word for word. I said, I tried, but I'd be saying that Bitcoin crashes going into the end of QT, more rate cuts that have already propped up the bull market in Bitcoin and TradFi, stock market continuing up somehow without Bitcoin, because I do think the stock market is going to be continuing up over the next, months and year. And there's a couple others, but really these make the bearish argument feel very, very fear driven, right? The bearish arguments do feel very fear driven right now for me, and I tried to feel it. I do this exercise every day. Every single, maybe not every single day, but most days, I'm thinking seriously about how a bear would feel, and I'm putting myself in their shoes so that I can try and understand how they might think about the market. And it always feels like I've sold bottoms, by the way, inside of bull markets, right? I've been the idiot that sold at the bottom of a bull market on a temporary dip. And I've done it more than once. I've done it a lot, actually. And so I really know how it feels. I know how it feels leading up to that point. I know how it feels when you've been thinking about it for a couple of weeks and the price keeps dipping, and then the price dips really hard. So you're like, fuck this. Now I'm definitely out. And that's how you sell the bottom. I've been there a lot. I don't know if that's where we are now. Like I'm saying, shit, I don't fucking see the future, right? We could literally be so over and Bitcoin's heading down to 10K and it's just going to be Capo's wet fucking dream, right? That could be what we're seeing here as well. But from what I can see and from my lived experiences inside of this market, we're not doing anything that's atypical right now inside of a bull market. This is, this happens. This is quite normal. So I tried to feel it. I always do this exercise a lot. And, the way I really felt was that this is a brilliant way to capitulate before a real parabola. Just like every single real bull market that's ever happened inside of crypto. It's always been like this. And it's funny, I'm still reading text messages here. It's funny because the cherry on top is that retail all called the top. And that's why I'm in all the way down to 75k. 75k is right here. And this isn't even necessarily my invalidation, because my friend was like, oh, okay, so when 75k comes, if we drop below 75, then you're out. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm still not out below 75. It's just that at 75, I might start getting a little bit scared. That's what that's what I said. Because 40% is a realistic correction. It's capitulating crypto at this point with AI taking over. I just feel like at this point it's too obvious. Everyone else is stacked on the other side against me, it's not like I haven't been in this Jon Snow Battle of the Bastards pose before. You know what I'm saying? I want to see if I can pull this up for you guys and show you what I mean. Real quick right here. Just this like super famous image here of Game of Thrones, where Jon Snow is holding up his sword, as the cavalry charges at him, and it's just one man versus the world. And if you think that trading is anything except for this, then you're kind of moving with the herd. I mean, you're the cavalry, right? And if you understand the statistics where most people lose most of their money in a short period of time, then it's pretty clear where this is. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to be a contrarian all the time. That's also a stupid perspective. There's a lot of balance here, and there's a lot of nuance, and these are processes that you've got to learn, right? You're not going to get these overnight, but these are things that you need to learn, with purpose, diligently. You need to learn it consciously, because otherwise, you're not going to know when it pays to be a contrarian, or when actually it's important to understand that, okay, if everybody is piled on one side, the price will move in that direction to an extent, because there's no buyers in this example, right? It's only sellers that we're getting right now. So that's kind of what I see here as far as like my broad perspectives, my broad takes on this market as it stands right now. That's kind of what I've been seeing here in this market. Let's see what else we've got here. Let's go through some questions as well. If you guys do have questions, here is when I'd love to start taking them. Travis says, I care what Sammy has to say. I'll stand with you at the Battle of the Bastards. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I need my cavalry behind me too. I mean, realistically, I don't, because the market's going to do whatever the market wants to do. But that's kind of how it feels. That is how it feels. And I think it's just a reality of where we are in the market now. I think that a lot of people are polarized on one side. I think the real concerning point is the stock market. But again, like, how concerning is this? Like, you look at this on like a larger time frame, 6 months, 1 year. I do think prices are going to be quite a bit higher than where they are right now, by those points. I don't know about 6 months, but certainly like 1 year, right? And that's if we don't get those major price hikes now in the next couple of months. My point is, I just don't think it's going to get particularly bad, when you start zooming out, like, it's just hard to imagine that, like, this is it, right? I mean, like, even if you're going by the perspective of, okay, but the AI takeover is happening, so markets are crashing because everybody is poor, that's missing the story. Because if you look at luxury markets, I mean, the wealthy have gotten wealthier over the last few years, and not by a little bit, like by the most amounts in their life. And even by percentage terms, it's been crazy for those that are invested. And so, I think that there is always going to be markets that are moving, right? I mean, I think that's what the pandemic proved to us, is that, like, most of the world got absolutely screwed and the middle class got wiped out. Okay, yes, that's true, but the people that already had money kept on moving markets. The S&P kept on going, Bitcoin kept on going, gold kept on going. Markets don't stop moving because people are poor. I mean, like, that's what I thought would happen. I mean, that's what everybody thought would happen, but it seems like that's not what's happening, right? The data is clearly opposite, because people started getting absolutely fucked from 2021 onwards. 2020, really. From 2020 onwards, that's when things started to get really bad. And they've just kept getting worse, and they still keep getting worse even now under Trump in 2025. And the markets are functional. The markets are still healthy. So, you know, I mean, are we saying that something else has to happen for markets? I don't know. Like, I think even if, like, it seems to be clear that there's this inverse correlation now between the lower income people or whatever, like the lower wealth people and the higher wealth people, where while the poor get poorer, the rich are getting richer. And what are the rich getting richer from? They're not getting rich from fucking thin air. Like, it is obviously, you know, markets that are moving, investments that are going up and things like that. Easy Money is asking if I'm going to open positions today. I don't know about today specifically, but every position that I do open will be fully briefed inside of the BroFi Alerts channel. And those of you that are inside are going to know about it. And I have been updating you guys inside of BroFi on where my positions are at and what I plan on doing with them. Do I breathe? I do breathe. I do breathe. I just talk a lot as well. Jay says, I just don't see the catalyst to see a parabolic rally anymore. I might be missing something. Well, the thing about a parabolic rally inside of these markets is that they kind of come out of nowhere, right? Because these markets are totally baseless, right? They have absolutely no substance behind them. Other than, you know, like FOMO, right? So when you've got that kind of dynamic in the market that you're looking at here, and by the way, Bitcoin's sitting at 91,900. This is a nice recovery right now. So, you know, I have no idea if this is going to be a real recovery or not, but we're definitely off to a good start and printing a wick over here. So there's, there's still 3.5 hours left on this 4-hour candle. So a lot can go wrong on this 4-hour candle, but I believe this is the last 4-hour candle of the day. Yeah, it is. It is the last 4-hour candle of the day. So this is going to be quite interesting to see where this daily candle ends up taking us here. But, you know, if we are holding above 91, I mean, you know, it's not like we're out of the woods by any means. It's still a really bad chart, but it is a good sign for now. As for the catalyst for a parabolic rally, because these markets are baseless and it's all based on FOMO and, you know, buying it before the next guy, really the only thing that triggers a parabolic rally, and we've seen it on coins like Zcash, right? Like Zcash moved up by a lot. It's a privacy coin, and there was like no real reason for it, right? Like what you're saying, Jay, about Bitcoin definitely applied to Zcash before the pump started to happen, right? Like when the market was just doing this, you know, like it was clearly, you know, like there was nothing really going for Zcash. I mean, it had a couple of latent narratives. It's a privacy coin. People value privacy, whatever. But, you know, I mean, it's the same as any other coin, right? There's gonna be a good thesis you can develop for many coins, and Zcash I don't think had a particularly strong one at all, but it pumped anyway. And so the reason that Zcash pumped, or the reason that any of these other coins that we've seen go crazy, the reason that these coins have pumped is purely because there is you know, manipulation going on in the market that is engineering the first leg. And so the first leg here was basically, you know, like basically end of September to like, you know, beginning early mid-October. Zcash is already up from $50 to $150. That's a 3 times gain. So, you know, that's all you need, right? Like you pay for that pump to happen with, you know, like your own money by pumping the market, injecting it aggressively into the market. And then other people start seeing it and they start buying. And when they start buying, the price is up a little bit more. And now we're up to about 270. We pulled a 2x gain from here. This could be a retail driven rally. And so obviously there's a little bit of a sell-off here, but then the rally continues on upwards and you're pulling off another 3-4 times gain. So, you know, this is how you start the parabola, is you start the parabola with one fat-fingered buy or with some, you know, kind of market manipulation that really gets things started. And then FOMO just carries the rest of the market. So it's the same thing with Bitcoin, right? Is that if we do see a parabolic rally with Bitcoin, there are no guarantees. I can't say the word when, but if we do see one, then we're probably looking at a situation where it's going to start almost like inorganically, but it won't really matter because the result will be a lot of FOMO that comes in afterwards, especially if the price does go crazy enough, and that will allow the market to travel much higher. So that's how all parabolic rallies happen, and they're all completely baseless, right? Zcash is a baseless rally. There's nothing to this. It's hot air. However, it's going up because it's the narrative right now. And so because Zcash is doing that, so too is Dash. Now, I was looking at Monero, and I was telling you Monero should be pumping instead of Dash or Zcash, but the problem with Monero is that it is a real privacy coin, and so it's not actually allowed to be listed on exchanges. But Dash right here from its low, and this one was obvious because, you know, Zcash was moving first, is up by 600%. Zcash is up by 2,000%. But from when this became quite predictable, let's say like the end of October, this is even when I was talking about it, I didn't buy it. From that high, it was up by 260% here, and it's still performing well. It's doing the same thing. It's only moving because the other one is moving, and so it's all baseless and it's all meaningless. But this is important because it helps us stay realistic and grounded in what we understand about the markets. By the way, we are closing in on 150 likes, so if you haven't already, we need 25 more. Smash them up if you haven't done so already. Really do appreciate it, guys. Thank you all very much. But that's kind of that's what I see here as far as these coins, and why certain coins are pumping and why others aren't, and what could result in a parabola for Bitcoin. That's kind of how I see that potentially taking shape. We got a chart request for ICP. ICP is another coin that's been rallying here just over the course of today. And if we take a look at ICP here on the hourly, it's actually done quite well. From this low here that it set recently up to its high, it's up by 20%. Up to the current price, it's up by 15%. And it looks like it is looking for a rally here. So if it does turn out to continue to run, there could be a lot of sunshine here. But frankly, I don't think that these kind of positions are safe enough to trade for me personally. So I don't really take those kind of positions. But here, guys, I am coming up to the end of what I wanted to say on this stream. We are also closing in on the 1 hour mark. So if you have enjoyed the stream, you know what to do. We're closing in on 150, only 11 away. Thank you all very much for smashing up those likes. If you do want to be able to catch us on the other side inside of BroFi, that's where I'll be right after the stream. I'll see you guys there with this link in the description down below. It's at the lowest price it'll ever be at for $100. You're already effectively getting that Black Friday sale. We're not lowering prices from here, but you will be able to stay locked at this price for 1 full year, and prices will be going up to $500. We'll be increasing it incrementally. So if you want to get in at the lowest price it'll ever be at, then now is your chance, and it would be it's $100 to get in. Let's play Black Ops 7. I'm not jumping on that trash, dude. That was terrible. I played like 10 minutes of that shit and I was like, I'm done. But yeah, absolutely amazing stuff. You're getting your price lock. You're getting a lot of content already inside of the BroFi certified course, and more coming in every week, which is very, very exciting as well. So very, very cool. See you guys there. Definitely make sure to smash up the likes and subscribe. If we have any final questions, I'll take them now. Otherwise, I will be wrapping up the stream here. Obviously, I do want to give a shout out to some of the channel sponsors: Bybit, Incredible Exchange, one of the best in the game for sure, and offering up to $30,000 in completely free trading capital when you start trading using that link in the description. Blowfin also offering incredible bonuses when you start trading using this link in the description below. They are aggressive bonuses. It's more free money that you can throw back into the market. And the beautiful thing about these bonuses is that if you make profits with that free money, you can withdraw it. So you can kind of do whatever you like with it. It's not your money to worry about, which is really, really cool. Edward is saying, am I still playing Battlefield 6? Hell yeah, I am, dude. I absolutely am. Am I playing Arc Raiders? No, but I was looking at it. Is it any good? I don't really have a lot of time to play video games. So, I only kind of play them if I really, really like them. And then I kind of play them a lot. But even these days, I haven't been. I wish I had a little bit more time, but it's fine, really. James says, hell yeah, we need another 4th for Battlefield 6. Yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice. So if any of you guys do want to join on Battlefield, then definitely hit me up on Twitter or Instagram with the link in the description. Edward says, me too, but I hate the game with a passion. You hate Battlefield 6? That's crazy. Battlefield 6 is pretty good, man. Battlefield 6 is pretty good. What do you like then? What do you like if you don't like 6? But yeah, let's bring it back to the chart here quickly and see if there's anything else cooking on these charts. 91.4, still hanging out, really. Nothing too crazy going on. Yeah, I mean, the market's only moved down to where I was expecting it to. So, like in that sense, I think we're not doing too bad at all. I see Litecoin breaking $100 as the bull run. Yeah, I mean, that definitely looks possible. Litecoin was at, 101 or something just yesterday. So, that was pretty recent. Edward says, I'm always being killed in Battlefield 6. I mean, if you're dying too quickly, then, you just need to position yourself a little bit better, like hold one angle down and just wait for someone to kind of run to you, right? And then, do that a little bit and you'll develop some game sense and then you'll get better. Please tell us how the Bears are getting crushed again. I mean, you know, as you can see, they're definitely having a field day. They're having a great time right now. But again, I mean, like I just said, this is a support level that I was expecting. This is a support level I was telling you guys to look out for since we were at 107. So actually, I've been looking at this support level since way before that. You know, probably at like 120. Not that I expected us to drop this low, but I said that if we do drop this low, these are where the support levels are. So they definitely didn't take us by surprise either. Which is good. You know, we shouldn't be getting, you know, taken by surprise by these markets. That's a very weak place to be. What's the bottom? Do I think? You know, I don't know. I don't know. Edward, if you wanna jump on Battlefield, just hit me up on Instagram or Twitter, dude. I don't wanna. It'll be easier to coordinate on there. Easiest way to see contracts sold is the chart instead of. I don't know what you're saying, dude. Contracts sold instead of the chart. I don't know. Maybe a different software. All right. Well, I'm going to call it there, guys. Thank you all very much for tuning in. It's been a brilliant stream. We nearly got up to 150, so thank you all so much for smashing them up, you absolute legends. Really do appreciate it. Bitcoin sitting at 91.6. We'll keep it locked over here. If we see any significant developments, we'll be back live, whether that's, you know, later today, tomorrow, whatever. We'll always be here. So, yeah, good stream, and I'll see you all in the next